asked a question as to what do children need, the first thing that comes to the mind is, what do children need? They need love, they need to be listened to, they need somebody to understand their little needs. Children also love attention. Children also love somebody to give them a big warm hug. But in the shift which has come into the society, where families are now working, it's as if the balance of the family now is on mummy and papa out at work. It's important because our education has taken us on this path. It is important because today, when it comes down to the sociological fabric, we are all living in homes, or at least most of us are living in homes of two incomes. So in these shifts, which are not only because of the economics part of it, but also because of the manner in which education today has actually gone into the system of the fabric of India, we need to understand that children still what they need at this time is the love of an adult, the love of somebody who can actually be there, not in a quality kind of a time, but in a time when they need it. It's the immediacy of a situation. A child has come from school, wants to share something with a loving adult, and whom does he find there? He finds somebody who is a caregiver and who is somebody who has to do many other chores. She is or he is probably somebody the parents have hired as domestic help. So this child who's coming with his own emotions from the school might be just sharing something about a peer, might be something of love, something of hurt, something of mere aspiration of this is what I did today. This child goes to a home which is cold. The child is rushed, hurried, and made to do chores one after the other. And then what do we see this child is doing? This child somehow is bottling himself or herself at that time, because there is going to be an appropriate moment when this child is going to share something with the adult who will have a patient ear. Coming to the startup of a daycare as ipsaa, I think ipsaa was a wish where we understood this fabric, this aspiration of a society, that when children come home, they need to be loved, they need to be nurtured, they need to be listened, they need to be cared for. They need to be actually have an adult who is gentle, who understands that after a long day, these children are wanting to share something which is very close to their hearts. And so ipsaa was created by a few of us who believe that we can create a large, beautiful home for children where mentor moms will be there to receive the children, where they will be actually given the warmth which was absolutely there in a large home run by a grandmother, run by grandparents, where there were other grandchildren also. So in the nuclear setups which have come by, yes, even if there is a grandparent at home, even if there is a domestic help at home, these are still very isolated homes because peer group interaction is not happening. So looking at all these aspects as a researcher, as somebody who has worked with children for many, many years, and also being a mother of three myself, I think the whole aspect was of creating an ethos for ipsaa, an ethos that would say, if you come here, you are safe, you are secure, and sweethearts, we listen to you. We do not believe in teaching children anything, but what we do is we actually follow the child. So certain principles and aspirations and hopes and wishes which we had in our own childhood have come together. And with a professional team which actually anchors the entire aspect of understanding international daycare standards, having systems which are very international, but the basic core remains Indian large family home. When a child comes, he or she is not asked to do this, do that, do that. What the child is really asked now is to be with what he is. So post a school, this is not even an activity center. This is a space where we are not too much bothered about the child's becoming. What is important is the child's being. In that, if a child wants to read, if a child wants to just lie down with a book or to listen to some music, well, the child should be actually provided for in that. So when a child is just lazing with a book, where is this book coming from? I think that is the task of the ipsaa mentor. We have our knowledge partner Katha books. Very judiciously, we have a prepared environment where books are selected for their quality, for their classical tenacity of actually being with what the child is really with. So you can actually, as a child, read a Calvin and Hobbes here to a Katha book, which might be the Champa story or the Princess with the Golden Hair, or you could actually go on to even reading Alice in Wonderland. It is all age appropriate. It is all selected, kept. So the environment which is prepared seems as if it's an environment like it was in a large home. It is not something contrived, but it is definitely leading. It is prepared by the adult with the choice of giving the child an environment where he or she can pick up material which is around. Same goes if the child really wants to do something in mathematics. They can have fun in mathematics here. They can actually pick up something which is of their interest in their pottery hubba. They can do something in their interest in the puppetry with our knowledge partner Anrupa Roy of Katkatha. So there's a very judicious understanding of what children need, what are the kind of partnerships and relationships we can have with like-minded people, and open doors. There is no television that we believe in. We also believe that children, the meal time is the most beautiful time for the child. Now, this could be a huge amount of a issue for the child because there's no television. So what do? You have weekly movies for children where they can actually laze and have their popcorns, actually feel. But then what are we showing them? We are showing them age appropriate, good movies where the impact is not only of killing people or these kind of cartoons which are actually giving them a gibberish language. So it's not that there is no kind of an entertainment, but probably in the whole process, what is being done is a sense of joy. Not just happiness which is temporary, which is momentary, but it is deep-seated in giving the child a habit for tomorrow. Because all children born from the age of 6 months to 6 years. 6 months to 6 years is an age where the child is actually sponging habits for life. So the environment prepared around this age group is very different from the environment which is prepared for children from the age group of 6 to 12. And these are the two age groups I think are very important for the parent for actually giving the children a habit for life. In an environment which is prepared, are we trying to be parents? No. The role of the parent is that of a parent. We are next best to a parent. We do encourage grandparents to come and tell stories, to help us with our cooking, to tell us. So there is a huge amount of learning also, which is important, but it's a community initiative. So there is children on one hand, there are the adults on the other hand, there are the facilities of care which are done by the adults, there are facilities of health which are done by our health partners. I think our one wish at ipsaa is how do we all discover our own childhood? How do we discover the little children that we once were? And what did we like? We liked simple things. I'm almost reminded of the way Rabindranath Tagore's poem Playthings said, do we need large things in life, or do we just need those little twigs, those little things which are just strewn all around us? I think childhood is all about looking at simplicity. And in weaving ipsaa, I think one thing we have really kept in mind is the simplicity of everything. There's a rhythm of joy, there's the rhythm of care. There is a need to grow ourselves with the children. There's also the Aurobindian principle that we are not here to teach. We are also here to follow the basic swabhav of the child. And when we follow the basic swabhav of the child, I think our role becomes that of caregivers who are also wanting deeply to understand that we cannot treat our children as clay to be molded. Our children are beautiful, but they are, each of them is an individual. And when we are looking at that individuality and then showing and weaving it together with waiting, sharing, creativity, I think that's the magic of discovering the joy within. And that's what ipsaa really is.